hypocrisy of Pastor Jeff. Pastor Jeff is the worst representation of a church leader I've ever seen in media and fiction, because he's supposed to be a goody two shoes, somebody that is supposed to be the person that is holding together the community. This man cannot hold anything together even if you give him glue and a walking one with bladder.
Do you know what bugs me the
No, but I need my people to see it.
most about Pastor Jeff? It's not that he's a hypocrite. The show is full of hypocrites. What gets me is that he's the only adult in Medford who knows exactly what he's doing and does it anyway. Mary thinks she's saving souls. George just wants to be left alone. And Jeff is playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, and here's what hit me. Everyone thinks Pastor Jeff is just a comic relief guy, the sweet, kinda goofy pastor who's basically background noise for church jokes, like a cartoon Texas preacher who smiles at everyone and says all the right things. A harmless dude in bad shirts. But that's complete BS. Pastor Jeff might be the most calculating person in the entire show, and I mean that. This man manipulates Mary Cooper from season 1 all the way to the finale, and most viewers don't even catch it because he does it with a smile and
a suit. Just does this. This is among the most dangerous moves I've ever seen. Pastor, I am very careful. Why does it keep dropping the video quality? Google, I see what you're doing. I see it.
and a Bible verse ready to go. I didn't even notice it myself until that scene where Jeff hires Mary back after firing her. Remember that one? He fires her because she stood up for Georgie and Mandy. Then, when things get awkward, when the church starts falling apart without her, he calls her back, and Mary goes back. Of course she does. And he acts like he's doing her a favor. That's not kindness. That's control. That's manipulation. And this is where it gets good, because if you look at every single scene Jeff is in, you'll see the same pattern. He protects himself first,
even the youth
the church second, and people, he juggles people however suits him in the moment. Honestly, my brain just shut down when I put it all together. Hey, take a seat on Cooper's couch today. We're breaking down why Pastor Jeff is actually one of the darkest characters in this sweet little sitcom, and why nobody is talking about it. Okay, let's not start with the heaviest moment. Let's start with the one that just gets under my skin every time I think about it. The whole story with his first wife, Selena. Remember her? Everyone thinks, poor pastor, his wife left him, he's depressed, sleeping on his office couch and hiding out at the Cooper's place. We get this whole sad arc and we're supposed to feel for him. But dig a little deeper. Why did the marriage even fall apart? Because this man of God lied to Selena from the start about being rich. He built his whole marriage on a basic lie just to keep up appearances. And when Selena found out the truth and dumped him, he ran straight to Mary in a panic. Not because he lost the love of his life.
I just got it. Mary is Pastor Jeff's mama. He has mommy issues. Damn, that was fast.
Because a divorced pastor is a PR nightmare. He needed to save his reputation, and fast. And look at how perfectly Robin shows up. And you know why things click with Robin? Because Robin is a cop. What better way to patch up a shaky preacher's reputation than marrying a police officer? With Selena, the whole front collapsed and he flipped on the victim mode. With Robin, the status was back, and boom, he's the perfect shepherd again. So this whole storyline isn't about a pastor's complicated road to happiness. It's about a guy who picks his image every single time, as long as the image is on the line. And this is the first time the show whispers to us, hey, this guy isn't who he seems. Most people just don't hear the whisper. Okay, now let's get into the thing that really sends me. This is probably the most messed up thing Pastor Jeff does in the whole show, and almost nobody talks about it. Think about how George dies. Think about the funeral. Think about who runs it. Pastor Jeff, the same Jeff who knew for years that George didn't believe. The same Jeff who knew George only went to church because Mary made him. The same Jeff who, in private, was a totally normal dude with George, drank beer with him, watched football, even cracked jokes about church stuff. This Jeff stands up and runs a Christian funeral for a man he barely knew as a believer. But the most painful part isn't George's death itself. It's the way Mary looks at Jeff in that moment and sees comfort. And Jeff looks at Mary and sees, what, a parishioner, a regular customer. Someone who's now going to show up to church even more often, because she needs somewhere to put all that grief. I didn't even catch this until I rewatched the finale and paid attention to Jeff's face during the funeral. There's no grief there. There's not even real sympathy. There's professionalism. It's the face of a guy doing his 100th funeral service. And in some ways, that's normal. He's actually done a lot of funerals. But the problem is, George was his friend. Or he was supposed to be. And in the moment when Jeff needed to be a human, he put the role back on. Think about what a real friend would do. A real friend would sit with Mary at the kitchen table and say, "Look, I don't know what to say. I'm in shock. George was a good man." A real friend would admit that George was a complicated guy who didn't really love church but loved his family. A real friend wouldn't turn the funeral into another service. But Jeff did exactly that. He used George's death as one more chance to remind everyone that he is the pastor. He is the guy you go to in hard times. He is the center of Medford's spiritual life. And here's what really finishes me off. A few episodes after the funeral, Jeff starts coming around Mary more often, helping out around the house, stopping by to check in. Everyone thinks, oh, what a kind man supporting the widow. But if you're being honest, that's a shepherd tightening the leash on his most valuable sheep. Mary is grieving. Mary is vulnerable. Mary is going to give the church even more time, more money, more loyalty. And Jeff is right there to gently steer all of it. I'm not saying he's a comic book villain. He's not sitting in a basement rubbing his hands together. It's actually worse than that. He probably doesn't fully realize what he's doing himself. He's just been playing pastor for so long, he's so fused with the role that he can't switch it off even when he's burying a friend. And that, honestly, is scarier than any open evil. This is a guy who lost his real self somewhere about 20 years ago, and now he only exists as a function. Okay, third thing. This one is smaller, but it shows the whole Jeff playbook in one tiny scene. Remember when Sheldon argues with Jeff about science and religion? Sheldon is, of course, a little smartass, and he walks into church with one goal: tear Jeff to pieces. And Jeff does something really clever in that moment. He doesn't argue, he doesn't get mad, he smiles, tells Sheldon those are interesting questions, and says he'll think about it and get back to him. And the audience thinks, what a cool pastor, look how he handled the difficult kid. But here's what actually happened. Jeff knew arguing with Sheldon was pointless. Sheldon is smarter than him on this stuff, and he'd lose a public debate. So Jeff did what every good manipulator does. He moved the conversation to a setting where he has the advantage. Vague answers. Let me get back to you. Friendly tone. In that setting, Sheldon isn't a weapon. He's just a kid, and Jeff is back in control. It's a small moment, I know, but it shows you the main thing about Jeff. He's always looking for the angle where he stays on top. With Mary, that's the job and the emotional dependency. With George, it was a friendship that was never equal. With Selena, it was lying to keep up appearances. With Sheldon, it was, I'll get back to you. And the saddest part is, nobody in Medford sees it. Because Jeff is good. He smiles. He helps out. He says the right things. In a small town, that's enough to make people treat you like a saint. And here's where I'm going with all of this. When you rewatch young Sheldon and pay attention to Jeff, you realize the show isn't really about a little genius. Or, well, not just that. The show is about adults who are all living inside roles they made up for themselves. George plays the tired dad, even though deep down he's way more than that. Mary plays the righteous woman, even though she's living in constant fear. Meemaw plays the fun grandma, even though she's a broken person. And Jeff plays the kind pastor. The difference is, everyone else cracks at some point. George drinks. Mary cries. Meemaw tells the truth. But Jeff? Never. Jeff never breaks character, and that, is the creepiest thing you can say about a person. Because a person who never takes the mask off is a person who has nothing left under the mask anymore. And once you see this, the whole show plays differently. Every Jeff scene stops being funny and starts being a little sinister. Every smile is a calculation. Every sermon is a performance. And you start feeling sorry for Mary, not because she lost her husband, but because the only person she leans on spiritually is an empty suit holding a Bible. The show never says this out loud. It's a family sitcom after all, but if you watch closely, it shows you. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Pastor Jeff isn't a villain. He's something worse. He's a reminder that the most dangerous people in our lives aren't the ones who openly hurt us. They're the ones who smile at us for years, say the right things, and slowly, quietly make us dependent on their version of reality. Just think about how the pastor secretly baptized Cece behind her parents' back. Anyway, drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you make of this. And speaking of comments, there are more and more of you. The discussions under the videos are popping off, and
every every time I watch
I
this
physically can't always reply to everyone. So if this breakdown hit for you and you want to support more videos like this, hit the join button under
yapping, moving gums. Every time I watch this Cooper's Couch videos about the young Sheldon show, my gums cannot move. I have no idea what I'm looking at because it's so detailed. I'm like, it says something, then it clicks for me. It says something else, then it clicks. It says something else, then it clicks. The Pastor Jeff, I was thinking he was gonna go about being a yap and moving gums, but he went deep. Tear that man's soul. Damn. That was amazing though. Like, how many videos is that? 3. Subscribe. I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's a worth a subscribe.